On this special Thanksgiving episode of Food Factory, we gobble up crispy rice cakes.
Live the life of pie.
And get a little saucy with a bogberry.
But first, some people like white meat and some prefer dark. But there's one thing that ends up piled on everyone's Thanksgiving plate: stuffing.
Senior Vice President of Pepperidge Farm, Bill Livingstone, reflects on his mom's secret to the perfect stuffing.
I come from a family, there was 12 of us in the family, so Thanksgiving was a great time to be around. I didn't know it at the time, but I never realized how good the stuffing was. Then I realized later in life that it was Pepperidge Farm.
And since then, Bill has developed some of his own secrets for making great stuffing.
My secret is, put it in the bird, and take it out of the bird.
Genius. Pure genius.
Pepperidge Farm's 265,000 square foot solar-powered facility is in Bloomfield, Connecticut.
Thanksgiving stuffing start right here.
Givenson starts making the massive batch of white bread by pouring 22 kilos of salt and 20 kilos of their secret herb seasoning mix into the enormous mixer.
Givenson pumps in 635 kilograms of flour, 17 kilograms of yeast, 360 kilograms of water, and 13 kilograms of canola oil into the mixer through the maze of pipes overhead.
And with the push of a few buttons, the dough is kneaded by the huge paddles inside this machine.
Now, we can't see inside the mixer while it works, but luckily Givenson is here to provide an interpretive dance that will give us the idea. Nice.
Thanks, Givenson. After 15 minutes of mixing, he sprays down the exterior of the mixer with oil and dumps out the mountain of dough, or as I like to think of it, pre-stuffing.
The dough falls into a huge hopper that chunks out large portions.
The pieces of dough travel along a series of conveyors until they're ushered into hoppers that chop them into similar 450-gram pieces.
These loaf-sized portions of dough scoot along yet more conveyors into a rounder, flings them around until they emerge as smooth dough balls.
The balls continue on their journey until they get rolled flat and pass quickly beneath a chain link contraption that rolls them into cylinders.
Cool. Each piece of dough falls into a loaf pan in a row, and 2,500 of these pans mass together and move into a proofer.
The loaf spends 60 minutes in this proofer, which provides just the right conditions for the yeast to get busy, making the dough rise and fill up the pan.
Once they've risen, the loaves are on the move again. They travel beneath high-pressure jets of water that slice the top of the loaf open along the center, which will help them attain the right shape as they rise even more when they bake.
From there, the loaves keep on moving right into the oven, a continuous tunnel cooker that bakes a steady stream of loaves as they enter one end and emerge fully baked from the other 30 minutes later.
The loaves keep on hustling along, and each one is plucked from its pan as it passes beneath the suction cup roller.
They're pulled up and onto yet another conveyor, which carries them into a gargantuan cooling room.
This room holds 14,000 loaves in its giant rotating stacks. The bread arrives piping hot at 93 degrees Celsius, and after 80 minutes in this room, leaves having cooled to 32 degrees Celsius.
At this point, Pepperidge Farm does something a little unexpected. The baked bread moves out of the cooling room right into giant plastic totes, where they'll spend the next day and a half aging.
We let it sit. And at Pepperidge Farm, we let it sit for over 24 hours. Others don't.
That's cool, Bill. Throwing shade at the competition?
Except, it's true. During those hours, the moisture in the bread becomes evenly distributed, and the loaves gradually develop the ideal texture for the next part of the process.
Once they've been aged, whole wheat and white loaves start to get processed together to produce the signature mix that goes into Pepperidge Farm's seasoned herb stuffing. The line workers grab each tote and place it onto a lift that raises it up and dumps it onto yet another conveyor. And that's a lot of conveying.
The loaves travel along the conveyor until they drop into the grinder with an ominous thud.
Now it seems like we were just getting to know you. Goodbye, loaves. Hello, stuffing.
The grinder cuts the bread into a crumb size that's just right for stuffing.
The breadcrumbs are dropped into compartments and continue merrily along through this dehydrator.
When the bread enters the dehydrator, it's 28% water. As it travels through the tunnel, almost all the water content is removed, so that by the time it's done in there, the moisture level is only 3%.
The breadcrumbs get a good shake and drop into a bucket conveyor that lifts them up and carries them to a rotating tunnel that mixes the crumbs thoroughly so there's a consistent blend of white and whole wheat.
The crumbs travel into a batchware that measures out 400 grams of stuffing and drops it into bags that are simultaneously being formed.
Pepperidge Farm makes up to 500,000 bags of stuffing each week. Each bag is heat-sealed and conveyed to the packaging area.
The bags of stuffing are packed by hand into master cases.
These bags are stuffed with stuffing.
And everyone knows the only thing better than stuffing is stuffing squared.
Filled, sealed cases head to the warehouse, where they'll be dispatched to Thanksgiving shoppers worldwide.
I'm a big believer you can't eat enough on Thanksgiving.
Hey, you know who doesn't eat on Thanksgiving?
Oh, I know, the turkey, because he's already stuffed.
Good one. Well, if you're going to do a pie segment, there's really only one right way to set it up.
Yep, put the company's CEO on camera and then hit him in the face with a pie.
No, not a chance in hell.
Hey, we don't make the rules, we just gleefully obey them.
This is going to hurt us more than you.
Incoming!
That's Diane Morrison, owner of Wendell's True Foods.
And beside her is Erica Benson, the company's original baker and Diane's mom.
When it comes to Thanksgiving, these two see eye to eye.
Don't you mean pie to pie?
I do not.
Favorite Thanksgiving dessert? Pretty easy. Pumpkin pie.
Not only is it undeniably delicious, but Wendell's pumpkin pie has the added bonus of being gluten-free.
So the only question left is, how big of a slice do you want?
If you cut a pie in half, is that a slice?
Erica, I love you already.
Wendell's pumpkin pie is made here in Langley, BC.
And the process begins with this adorable mother and son duo, Will and Angie.
They start off at the mixer to make the dough for the pie crust. Here they add 24 kilograms of non-gluten white rice flour, 14 kilograms of cane sugar, and 18 kilograms of potato starch.
With the dry ingredients ready to go, 45 kilograms of butter is rolled in, giving Will the perfect opportunity for a very high-concept soundbite.
There's nothing better than working with my mother.
That's some award-winning pottery, folks.
As the mixer spins, the butter is added in by hand.
After getting a few minutes to blend, a mix containing 37 kilograms of water and 8 kilograms of flaxseed is then added from this bucket here.
The blender is left to do its thing until just the right consistency has been achieved. Once finished, Will and Mom hand-chunk the dough into this rolling tub.
The tub is pushed over to the extruder where Angie transfers it into a feeding hopper up top.
Once loaded, pans are conveyed underneath, where pucks of dough are extruded 2 at a time.
The pucks are used to ensure consistency in the process, as each one weighs exactly 80 grams.
Those pucks are then stacked, in groups of 2, on a new pan lined with parchment paper, eventually being placed on this rolling rack to be brought over to the bowl press.
The bowl press line is run by this bunch of turkeys.
Where are you going, ladies? We got some pies to make here.
Yep, the bowl press is where things really begin to take shape.
We use 2 pucks per pie, and we then press those pucks in a pie press, which makes them all 100% uniform.
It's starting to look more like Thanksgiving already.
From the bowl press, the pies head down this conveyor, where they collect on a series of trays.
Those trays wait on this rolling rack as the pie filling is prepared from a rhyming couplet of ingredients.
Sugar and spice and everything nice.
More specifically, the filling is made from a spice mix comprised of cinnamon powder, sea salt, and ginger, 12.7 kilograms of sugar, and a crucial addition of pure pumpkin puree.
75 kilograms of pumpkin go into every batch.
After attaching a mixer's blade, Louisa pulls this lever and the initial mix begins.
Once a nice consistency has been achieved, the rest of the filling ingredients are added. That includes 13 kilograms of eggs, 18 kilograms of whipping cream, and 24 kilograms of wholesome milk.
The filling ends up over by the depositor where Mark climbs up high and tips the mix inside.
Now ready for filling, Henry takes the lead.
We fill 1 pie at a time, and it takes 10 seconds to fill each pie.
But the toughest part is yet to come.
Henry has a really hard job. He has to make sure that he can move the tray of pies that are very full and easy to spill into the racks that go into the oven.
Once the filling is complete, the rack of pies is carefully rolled into a convection oven.
Okay, so while we wait for the pies to bake, let's chat with Wendell's plant manager. So, Mark, what if you went to a Thanksgiving dinner and they didn't have a pie?
I wouldn't have dinner.
Yeah? You just leave?
I would have to come back and pick up a pumpkin pie.
Smart move.
Oh, that's the oven. The pies are ready. I gotta go.
Hey, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Out of the oven, the pies get a chance to cool for 45 minutes, which is a major test of willpower.
One of the hardest parts is just waiting for them to cool, because sometimes it's nice to have a little piece of pie in the afternoon.
Once cooled, the pies are brought over to the packaging line, ready to get wrapped up.
But before being boxed, each pie is shrink-wrapped in cellophane to ensure their gluten-free status is preserved.
Then, after passing through a metal detector, they head to these ladies here, lamenting this very complex mathematical quandary.
What's the square root of pi?
I don't know. Delicious?
That adds up to me.
The pies are placed in individual boxes
And taped up.
and finally labeled, now ready to make their way to a Thanksgiving table near you.
Good.
From each batch, Wendell's produces 500 pies. Come turkey time, you can bet this factory kicks into high gear.
For Thanksgiving, we are doing thousands of pumpkin pies. That is by far our busiest time.
The pies will have you feeling a whole host of emotions.
For example, happy you have a pie. Sad that you're almost finished your pie. Happy because you have more pie. And then grossed out that you ate so much pie in front of your in-laws.
So whether you're hosting this year's Thanksgiving dinner or just attending, make sure to have Wendell's pumpkin pie on hand.
Why? 3 words for you.
Tradition, tradition, tradition.
Nicely said.
Happy Thanksgiving, ladies!
Happy Thanksgiving.
So if you think Thanksgiving is all about sitting on your butt and strapping on your fat pants, think again.
That little ball of energy is CEO and founder of snack producer Lady Fortune's Daria Artem.
Artem. Daria Artem. I like my turkeys shaken, not stirred.
Show the people at home what you got for us today, Daria.
Sid the turkey, Cy the turkey, come and say hello. Gobble, gobble.
Those delicious treats are Lady Fortune's colossal turkey crispy cakes. And come Thanksgiving, they're a really big deal.
They're colossal. They're not just big. They're colossal.
I stand corrected.
As you may have noticed, Daria is pretty excitable when it comes to Thanksgiving foods.
There's just something about those turkeys that just gobbles to me. And I gobble right back.
Gobble back, figuratively, right?
Gobble, 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 gobble.
Oh wow, she meant that literally.
Well, as fired up as Daria might seem, there's a ton to be enthused about with these colossal turkey crispy cakes.
It's amazing. It is sticky, it's sweet, and it's just a mouthful of goodness every bite.
The turkey crispy cakes are made in Lady Fortune's Canoga Park facility, where the process begins with a high five and this mixing bowl, which sits atop a heating element.
The bowl is filled with 340 grams of corn syrup, 28 grams of vanilla extract, and 453 grams of butter.
Butter makes the world a better place. I love butter. I used to dip it in sugar as a kid. But that's a different issue.
Well, if you thought that butter was tempting, watch out, because next up, 2 kilograms of fluffy white marshmallows get added to the bowl.
Then, after melting everything down and stirring the mix together, the crispy rice cereal makes its grand entrance.
Yep, 1 kilogram is poured in, which gets mixed up with the spatula and then tossed by hand.
I've never said this before, but I'd really like to be that woman's hands right now.
I feel like there's a joke in there somewhere, but I'll refrain.
It's a miracle.
Once the ingredients are all mixed together, the bowl is dumped out onto a pan that's been lined with wax paper.
Here, it's evenly spread out and then covered with another sheet before using a roller to flatten it.
And that's when the copper cutters come in. They're used to create the shapes that will eventually be transformed into turkeys.
Now, if you think those cutters look vaguely familiar, you're not just seeing things. When the factory found themselves without turkey shapes, Daria had a moment of pure Thanksgiving inspiration.
Suddenly it hit me. Boom! I saw on the shelf, ta-da, glowing in the light, a heart. And I pick it up and I say, hallelujah, that is our turkey.
But they're not quite turkeys yet.
For now, the heart shapes get stacked up and brought over to Norma by the tempering machine where vanilla chocolate awaits them.
Before the two meet up, though, a not-so-precise amount of orange food coloring is added in.
We basically eyeball it. The girls that designed these turkeys know the orange color that we're looking to achieve.
Once that's been taken care of, the cakes are hand-dipped, giving them a nice orange top layer.
Before they can move on to the next stage, though, they've got to dry off. The only way turkeys know how.
Take it there, feather. Take it there, feather. Take it there, feather.
Once said tail feathers have been adequately shaken, the dipped crispy cakes end up on this tray, which gets passed off to the next stage.
Let's talk turkey.
Let's indeed. The heart shapes now get turned into turkeys with a piping bag, a steady hand. She's turning these heart-shaped crispy cakes into turkey masterpieces, one stroke at a time.
Using different colored icings, the turkeys come to life. The eye, beak, and wattle are the final touches.
Next, the colossal turkey crispy cakes head off to packaging.
Here, they're individually placed in cellophane bags, which are heat-sealed for maximum freshness, and twist-tied shut.
The crispy cakes then get dropped in these turkey coops lined with protective hay.
It's actually crinkled shred.
And get sent out to customers worldwide.
So this Thanksgiving, make it a colossal one with these turkey crispy cakes.
This is truly a universal treat. Everybody can enjoy it, and it just makes Thanksgiving that much brighter.
Brighter for the eater. Turkeys, on the other hand, not so much.
You're next, buddy. Oh, yes!
Everyone knows that it ain't Thanksgiving without cranberry sauce.
Thanksgiving without our cranberry sauce?
No thanks.
That's Evelyn and David Ernst, owners of Terra Beata Farms, the producers of the best darn cranberry sauce on the market.
This is a sign of a cranberry farmer.
Yeah, the two are partners in business and life, which sometimes can bog them down.
Working together has its challenges. It means that you can't go home and complain about your boss if you had a bad day.
But you won't hear anyone complaining or talking turkey about their product, because this stuff is the real deal.
Some people have never had real cranberries. Their only experience with cranberries is in a can. And you open up the can and you dump it in the bowl and it keeps the shape of the can. And there's a whole other world to cranberries.
Yep, you'd have to be a real jive turkey to gobble up that stuff.
David and Evelyn grow cranberries on their Heckman's Island farm in Nova Scotia, where the berries are picked every year right before the giving of thanks.
The harvest is always in October. That's why they're such a traditional Thanksgiving fruit.
After the cranberries are harvested, they get frozen and end up in Terra Beata's jarring facility, where they process over 5 million of these little tart Thanksgiving berries a year.
550 kilogram totes of berries are forklifted to the line, where they're put inside this massive thingamajig.
This is the tub dumper. Who you call the tub dumper?
They really should rename that thing.
Thinking. Well, whatever it's called, the frozen cranberries are tipped out
and get fed onto the line, where they roll over top a scalper, which filters out any cranberries that don't meet the spec.
Those that do meet spec pass on to these vibrating conveyors that bring the cranberries along to the color sorter.
As fast as the cranberries flow through on the conveyor belt, it can spot which ones are white, which ones are not good, and it targets each one while they're moving with a blast of compressed air.
While the remaining cranberries have now passed several quality checks, they're still not done being put through the ringer.
The last line of defense against subpar cranberries are these quality control experts who give a thumbs up or thumbs down to each berry.
Those remaining have officially made the cut and hop aboard the auger, which elevates them up above the line so they can be gravity-fed down through this tube.
That tube leads them through a slicer, cutting them in half and outputting them here onto this vibrating conveyor, which feeds them into a bin.
As the bin fills, the 200-liter kettle is prepped for the big cook, which is overseen by this woman.
Hi, I'm Cheryl, and I'm the cook at Terra Beata Farms.
And Cher is also a big cranberry sauce fan.
It's good on your sandwiches. You can eat it with pork. I've actually put it on my ham and baked it. It's really good.
Sounds tasty.
Cheryl adds 30 liters of water into the kettle,
along with 4.5 kilograms of sugar from these 20-kilogram bags.
The cranberries are then rolled over and added to the mixer by hand from these buckets.
67.5 kilograms of cranberries make their way into each batch, which is actually, how many would you say that is, Cheryl?
A lot. A lot.
Those a lot of cranberries are left to cook until they burst open, releasing pectin with an audible pop.
Pop?
Pop? Pop. Exactly. While the cranberry sauce now ready, the kettle pipes the sauce over to the filler, and the jars are loaded with 970 milliliters of the good stuff.
Those jars get capped and then moved through a washing conveyor that rains water over top of them, making them presentable for the labeler.
The label jars are then placed in master cases, ready to be shipped out to Thanksgiving tables across the continent.
Well, that's something to be thankful for.
Cranberries are perfect for Thanksgiving dinner, but we need cranberries all year round. Cranberries for breakfast, cranberries in the summertime, cranberries.
I could eat a bottle.
So as we bid you adieu, we wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving filled with family,
friends,
and plenty of food.
And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I've put together a comprehensive list of people I'm thankful for helping make this show.
You're talking about the standard end credits, aren't you?
I am. Got a problem with that?
Sneaky.
Roll 'em, boys! For more information about this show, please visit foodnetwork.ca.